What is behind the success of top-performing real estate agents and mortgage lenders? What tactics, strategies, and lessons learned have they used to break through and achieve elite status? Top-performing real estate and mortgage specialists from across the country answer these questions and so much more right here on Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. So grab your pen and paper because we are about to get real. Now here is your host of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes National Director, Abby Waltz.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 73 of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. I'm your host, Abby Waltz, National Director here at Homes for Heroes. I am so excited for today's show. We've got an amazing guest that I'm about to introduce in just a moment. But for those of you that are tuning in with us live, welcome. Even for those of you watching the recording out there, whether it's on your favorite podcast directory or on our YouTube channel, welcome to the show for sure. We're happy to have you. Go ahead and feel free to use the comment section to type in any questions that you might have for me or our special guest along our conversation, or just let us know where you're tuning in. We'd love to know where you're tuning in and listening from for sure. So joining me today, I've got Gianni Cerretani, who is an unbelievable affiliate of ours. He's our number 5 Homes for Heroes mortgage specialist in the nation. He's consistently been ranked in our top 10s ever since he joined the program, believe it or not, Gianni, 9 years ago. Can you believe you've been with us for 9 years?
Well, that definitely explains why I have no hair. That's for sure.
Not that we've caused you any stress, right? It's just...
Not you guys, the mortgage business itself. But yeah, that's amazing. I was thinking about how long I've been with you guys, and that's awesome. It's been an unbelievable journey.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I was actually looking up your stats before we hopped on the show today, and you've served, from our records, which I know it's so much more than that because, let's be honest, that long with us, we've gone through some changes and some reporting changes, but you've served almost 500 heroes and you've given back well over $1.3 million in hero rewards. That's some results, dude.
That's awesome. I didn't even know the cumulative numbers, so thank you for sharing that. That's an awesome number.
Yeah, well, that's a huge positive impact you're making in the lives of so many people in your community, and we really appreciate not only what you do for your heroes, but for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, bud. Gianni, we'll just hop right in and get real together. Give me a little bit of history. I think it's really important for people to be aware of kind of how you got into the business and what your business looks like today. So could you share?
Are you talking about getting in with Homes for Heroes or getting into the business altogether?
Business in general. I'd love to know the backstory about how people get to their professions.
Great story. So basically, I graduated from college in 2003 with a master's in business and marketing. Had no wants to go into finance whatsoever. It was boring. I didn't like it. So I went the marketing route. Well, when I graduated from school, I started putting resumes out there, and I got my first interview with a marketing company. They were going to offer me the job, and they were like, well, they're going to give you about $40,000 salary, and you may make 60. And that's what my professors told me I'd make. So I was like, all right, I'm on track. Then I come home one day, and my dad slaps this advertisement on the table. It says, become a mortgage loan officer, make $100,000 your first year. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I like $100,000. Let's go check it out. So the company was AmeriQuest Mortgage, if you remember those guys back in the subprime days. So I went through 3 different interviews, and I made it through all 3 interviews, not even knowing what a mortgage was. Let me just be clear about that. Had no idea. I knew it had something to do with home, something to do with money. Didn't really know what it was. So completely blind. They hired me. I sold them, apparently, and they basically stuck me in a cubicle. It was an open cubicle. They sat me in a line with 5 other people, and they gave me what I would consider my lead. That was my leads list, which I would consider a glorified phone book. Pretty much had everybody in the state, and they just said, call this, listen to that person, sell mortgages, have a nice day. That was it. There was no training, there was no education, nothing. I was thrown into the meat grinder 100%. And I was calling relatives, past girlfriends. I mean, it was some awkward conversations, but nevertheless, it was fun. I mean, I was making 300, 500 phone calls a day, but I loved it. I loved the atmosphere. I loved the sales. I loved the ability to help people, and that's pretty much how I got started. And I was hooked. And 18 years later, here I am.
Wow, that's insane. And where is here now? What's your business? Because I'm sure it wasn't. You're not cold calling 300 people.
Oh God, thank you, Lord, I'm not doing that. That was a recipe for disaster. That'll burn you out real quick. So a lot of different changes throughout my business, but where I am today, I'm 100% organic. All my business has been self-generated. I've created my own book of business. Back then, when you get into the business, it's different now, but back then, the only way you could get into business was really by doing refinances. Purchases were for the elite, and that just wasn't me yet. I didn't know anything about the business, so I had to I had to earn my bones, which I did, and eventually transitioned into a purchase loan officer, which I am today. I'm about, I would say, 95% purchase, 5% refinance. I do refinances. I don't really advertise for that or market to that. I usually just take care of my existing book of business if they need it. But my book of business is pretty diverse. I learned how to diversify my business by a couple of mistakes early in my career by putting all my eggs in one basket. Not a good move. So I have a good diverse set of referral partners, anywhere from builders, real estate teams, financial planners. I do definitely capitalize on my previous clients. That's what I would say is the big makeup of it. And then obviously Homes for Heroes makes up it's now more than 50% of my business. And that's kind of entangled with all those referral partners as well.
Yeah. I'm going to jump into the referral partners in just a second, but just to give you guys some perspective out there, Gianni closed over 120 heroes with us last year. And he's telling you guys that this is about half of his business, maybe a little bit more. So you can know the amount of transactions that he's doing. You are pumping it out, my friend. That's a lot of people to help get into homes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not happy with that. I'm actually in the process of trying to grow that out even further. I'm one of those that's never happy or never satisfied. Ask my wife. So, we're trying to hit another level, and I'm trying to we did about 203 transactions last year, and we've been stable with that about 5 years, but we're going to try to grow that to about 325 this year. My goal is to get to over 100 million, and with that helping way more heroes than we have in the past as well.
Well, I love that for sure. Let's dive into the referral partners, because I feel like that's kind of a game changer for you that you might have learned over the years to help feed in different lead sources and whatnot, if you will. Mm-hmm. Are they a part of your plan to grow and to crest your tipping point, if you will, at that 200 transactions or so?
Absolutely. I mean, your partnerships are everything in this business. I know there's a big refinance boom going on right now, and it's very attractive to divert your attention to that. But I learned a very hard lesson in my early days as a mortgage loan officer by putting more effort into what I would call a non-sustainable market. The refinance market is never going to be an ongoing trend. It has been because rates have been so low, but at what point are rates going to hit their bottom and everyone is in a low position? There may still be refinancing out there, but purchases have always tested the time, and it's a better business model to work off. So I focus my attention on building these referral partnerships with agents, and I actually try to focus more on teams than individual agents and not offices. And there's a big distinction, because there are a lot of people, they want, I want the office. The problem with getting in an office, it's the old 80-20 rule. There's about 20% of the agents that are actually doing the business, and that other 80% you're paying for, you're not really getting any residual benefit. So I try to look at high producing teams. That way I can focus my energy on them rather than trying to capture a huge audience where, a lot of the effort is not getting a great result. And then a big part of my business has always been new construction builders. I currently have 3 relationships where I'm a preferred partner. That's a great revenue source. It's an ongoing revenue source. And it's great because it builds the pipeline out, because generally new construction, well, right now it's taking about 6 to 8 months to build, but usually, 4 to 6 months, you build that pipeline out, and then your resale agents are your now, and then, the combination of both, it builds a very strong ongoing pipeline. So I like to walk into every month with about 3 or 4 million in my pipeline, so I'm not, struggling to try to find deals. And that's kind of the model I've always worked with since I started gravitating to this type of situation that I'm in right now.
Yeah, I love that. Going a little bit deeper when you target teams as opposed to wider, right? With offices, you can't really build those relationships as strong as you can when you get laser focused on who you're specifically targeting. So I think that's super smart. The other thing that I want to touch on here is this notion that it's not all like business to consumer. We are a B2C industry, right? It's building relationships with potential clients and whatnot, but you're taking it to that next upper level and doing B2B interactions and building those relationships with other businesses too, which is so incredibly important when you're building your business, which is what the mortgage industry is. It's what the real estate industry is. And not a lot of people look at it like that. So you have gained some wisdom and earned your hair status.
For sure. Definitely, for sure. Going a little bit deeper as far as, how I've been able to maintain my referral partners. So I'll give you a little backstory. So I'm not originally from Georgia. And obviously that's where I live and that's where I've built my business. I'm originally from Boston. Polar opposites is how they do business down here. Personality. So when I came down here to Georgia in 2006, which was the worst possible time in the mortgage business, I think, or real estate market as we know, I literally had to reinvent myself. I had to recreate myself. And I've had to do that quite a few times over my 18-year career, which has been painful, but also has allowed me the ability to not be afraid if things change, if things shift, if I lose a partner for whatever reason. It doesn't scare me because I've proven to myself that no matter what happens, I can overcome the challenges and I can rebuild. And that's what I did here. I didn't have any relationships whatsoever. I was basically a northerner coming into a southerner world, and I learned how to operate in this environment. And that's essentially what I did. And I started building relationships little by little. Getting into builder accounts, which is not an easy feat. There's this thing called the Good Old Boy Network down here. I am not a part of the Good Old Boy Network. So I had to use skill, charm, charisma, whatever it is, to get in there. And basically it came down to hard work. I outworked everybody. I got onto these builder accounts and I told them, I said, give me everything that's turned down. Give me everything that these lenders can't do. And let me see if I can find a way to make these deals happen. And that's what I started doing. I started getting the worst of the worst, turning them into deals. Then I started getting recognition. They started seeing what I could bring to the table. And then Homes for Heroes was a huge part of that too. Having the Homes for Heroes rebate. This was a great opportunity for builders, and they still use it today, to market to that audience. In Georgia, Heroes account for 50% of the population.
What?
50%. I know. I was blown away when I read that statistic a long time ago. And that means 1 out of 2 people that walk in their door is going to be a hero of some sort. And it's true. And I really built that branding that you guys taught me how to do on really making them, whenever a hero walks in the door, they think of Gianni. Doesn't matter what they are or who they are. If it's a hero, they think of Gianni. And that's exactly how I built that business model with the builders. That's honestly how I got in, not only doing the tough stuff, but having that little nugget for them to be able to share, because builders are just like you and me. They're trying to differentiate from everybody else on the market, on the street, because they have a product to sell and it's very unique to, every other builder out there. So they have to differentiate themselves. It was the perfect opportunity to give them a marketing strategy that they didn't have to pay for. They're using my marketing to get that through to their audience and create a unique business channel. So it was a great opportunity to have that, and I really push it to this day.
Yeah, no, I love that. A lot of hustle, a lot of grit, a lot of proving yourself, but then having a unique value proposition that you can partner up with partners for is awesome. Just incredible. Very cool. Let's get into kind of what do you feel has made you successful over the years? I get that you've got the drive and the work ethic, right? There's no secret sauce behind success. It's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
But what have you learned that's helped you become more successful as you go?
Well, I touched on it a little bit. In my industry, there's a lot that can deflate you. It's a very tough industry. There's constant change. So I would say the two qualities that have helped me be successful is determination and adaptability. Determination is just not ever quitting, no matter what happens, no matter how bad the day is, no matter what happens to you. I'm always looking to kind of get to the next level, and it's difficult. Last year was true testament to that. Did we do great volume and great business? Yes, but it was a lot harder to do business. There were so many challenges that presented themselves. Everyone knows that the real estate market is flourishing, but what they don't know is how hard it was to handle all the changes that the pandemic caused. And I won't sit here and go into each one, but I mean, we all know, that it was challenging, and a lot of people gave up. I saw a lot of loan officers just, quitting midway through the year, and not quitting generally, but not fulfilling their goals, not trying to continue to push through their goals. I've always been someone that sets a business plan and I stick to it, and I make sure I hold myself accountable for those goals. And if I don't reach those goals, then I reevaluate, why did we miss those goals? And I didn't hit my goal last year. I'll be honest with you. I came close, but I didn't hit it. So I had to come back and I had to reevaluate my whole game plan. And I took a different approach this year, and we're changing some things. And then that's what it's all about. So that goes into adaptability. There's one thing that's always constant in this industry, and that's change. If I think, you made me nostalgic thinking about my first job in the business and where I was there to now and everything that has changed. I mean, it's like night and day. If I went back to Gianni in 2003 and saw Gianni now, I wouldn't even know who he is. It's just, it's completely different. And it's not just.
Uh-oh. Hang on, Gianni. I think I might have lost sound for you.
That a lot of loan officers, when they get to my experience level, forget that we don't know everything. We know what we know, but we don't know everything. There is so much that is still out there to learn. And I've taken the approach this year, and that was one of the things I changed, because I'll raise my hand and say I kind of got in that little mode where I was like, I know enough where I can, I'm doing $50-60 million a year. I'm good. I don't need anyone else's help. Wrong. I need help. I'm growing this model, but I need help, to the point where I'm actually even considering hiring a coach this year. That comes with your business model changes when you get to this level. There's only so much of me that I can do. And I'm the only loan officer doing all that. So there's nobody else doing the origination. I've got a team of people that help with my back office, but I have to grow that out and creating systems and things of that nature. So that's one of the things that I'm working on changing this year, to become more efficient. And what someone said, I have to fire myself essentially from my business so that I can go out there and do what I've always done, which is create the relationships. That's what I'm good at. I'm no good to anyone pushing paper. Even though I'm good at it, is not making anybody money. So that's my goal this year. And I have started to get on masterminds and start listening to the guys that actually are doing what I want to do. I mean, I'd be foolish not to sit here and listen to the people that are doing what I want to do. That I think is huge. You have to go and talk to people that are where you want to be, and listening to people and what they do and their strategies. And just in this short couple months that I've been implementing this, I've learned so much. And it's good because it's given me energy. It's revitalized me. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of stagnant the last few years. I'm doing great business, but I haven't gotten to that next level that I want to be at. So in order to grow, you have to continue learning and you have to be teachable.
Yeah. Coachability is a huge determination for people who are successful, for sure. Especially from even our top affiliates, I've learned that they're always they're sponges. They're trying to learn, right? And they're trying to build and grow themselves. And you see these people who are achieving so much, like you, but it is because you're getting out there and you're constantly adapting and learning new ways of doing things and looking for ways to improve. It's be better, do better, So I think that's insanely smart for sure. Yeah, tell me a few people that you're plugging into. Where are you getting your knowledge, and who are you connecting with right now?
So there's a Facebook group that I'm a part of called Mortgage Pub, and it's made up of loan officers of all different walks of life, from newbies to high-level producers and everything in between.
Oh,
I didn't realize that phone was
there
on.
we go.
I apologize. So that's been a great tool to just kind of bounce things off of people, because it's like all different platforms, like lenders, brokers, bankers. So it's a very diverse audience. So that's been cool. Learned a lot from there. And then I've been interviewing coaches. I actually have one later on today, and just getting some insight as to some of the things because they'll give you a little preview of what they're doing and how they're helping people. So I've gotten some knowledge from them, and I'm just talking to other top producers in our own organization, because Homebridge actually has some of the top 10% loan officers in the country. So, what better place to go than your own company, and that was a resource that I just foolishly haven't been tapping into. But just talking to people, just talking to more people, and not necessarily people in the mortgage business, because business as a whole generally operates on the same premise. Like you said earlier, there's no secret sauce to being successful. Anybody that's successful more than likely works their butt off, is determined, and is constantly learning and growing in their industry. So sometimes it's nice to just talk to other people in other industries just to see what they're doing, and believe it or not, I've gotten some great ideas from people in industries that have nothing to do with the mortgage business. Mm-hmm. So it's good, because sometimes you can get a fresh perspective on sales tactics, strategies, marketing from completely different industries than our own. Sometimes we forget that it's good to broaden your horizons in different areas of business, because just because they're not doing what you're doing doesn't mean it's not going to be successful. And that's another reason why I've been successful. I always try to go against the grain. If everybody's doing A, I'm trying to do B. I never try to follow the masses. I'm the opposite. That's why I loved Homes for Heroes, because when I joined, no one had anything like this. Nobody was doing anything like this, and they're still not doing it. There are other copycats, but they're not doing it right. They're not doing it the way Homes for Heroes is doing it. And that's one of the reasons why I joined Homes for Heroes and why it's been so successful, because it separated me from the masses.
Yeah, no, I love that. Collaboration is so imperative. Like you said, across industries, for sure. It's where you get some of your best ideas, because they do things differently, right? And we're notoriously both in industries, from real estate and mortgage, that are slow to change and to adapt and to do things differently. So I think that's wicked smart of you to be wicked smart, right?
Oh, you threw some Boston at me, didn't you?
Oh, For sure. So you obviously are really focused on growth this year and are hyper focused on changing so that you can get to that next level that you're looking to attain. A lot of that I've found in my own professional experience has to do with scalability, right? The systems and the processes, and yes, firing yourself so that you can do what it is that your true strength is and have everything else running effectively and efficiently in the background. Are you looking for any new systems? What new processes are you implementing? So I know I'm getting into the nitty gritty here for your plans, but I'd love to know.
No, it's great. You're hitting on everything that I'm really in the middle of figuring out right now. And yeah, scalability is the biggest thing right now. And it comes down to things that you hit on: having the right people, having the right systems, and time management. For me, those are the three things that are essentially killing my ability to grow right now. So with the people, that's a challenge because I think what's happened in the mortgage and real estate business is everybody has been sucked up, right? There's not a lot of new players in the game. So one of the techniques that I've been looking to do, and this is something our company has started to do, is they created this thing called homegrown, whereas they're taking people that are already in our company that may be in a different role that's not essentially what they're going to do. Like, for example, if you're in the setup department and they want to grow to be a processor, then they've created this educational platform where they're putting them through almost like a mentorship program where they're graduating them to that next level. So I'm looking to hire some people from within to do that. That's more long term. I have hired some recruiters to go out and fish for people. That has not been a great success, unfortunately. The old adage is if they're good, they're not leaving. And if they're good enough to leave, then more than likely the company is going to pay them to stay. That's the problem we've had. And then I'm also working on kind of grabbing people that are not necessarily mortgage professionals, but have the qualities and the tools and the skills that I can mold them into being that. So unfortunately, there's no short-term fix. This is going to be a growth situation. Like anything good, it takes time, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a good team. I've spent years just perfecting the team that I have. That took, several years to get the right people in place. And again, constant change. People decide to move on. They feel like they've gotten too big for you and they need to go to the next level. So there's that. So people are always tough to deal with, but that's a challenge that we're working through. Systems. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking to hire a coach. It struck me when I was on my vacation. I took 2 weeks off this year. It's the longest time I ever took off. I needed it. And while I was on vacation, keeps plugging. It hit me that I needed to implement systems. I needed to figure out a way, because I'm great at organization, but what happens is I get into my day, I'd have my list, and by the end of the day, I had a list from my list, and nothing was checked off. Because I was getting pulled in too many different directions. So that I had to come to the acceptance that I sucked at systems. So I needed to hire someone to do it for me. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with the coaching situation. So I don't really have an answer for you on that, but I'm working to getting that in place. And then what was the last one? I said people, systems, and
Processes,
yes. So I think processes kind of goes along with systems. I have good processes in place, but I think not having the right systems in place are kind of holding that back. So the objective for me long term is, again, like I said, for me to not be stuck behind a desk, to be out there, we call shaking hands and kisses babies, and building new accounts so that I can grow my branch to the next level. That's the goal.
Good for you. Know your strengths, but also know your weaknesses and hire for those for sure.
And that was, I think, the hard realization that I had to have. Unfortunately, all us A personalities, we have egos this big, right? And I'm no different. And having to swallow that pride and really sit down and look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, you do this great, you do this great, you don't do that great, and you need to hire someone to do that for you. So that's what I had to face this year, and I finally faced it and realized it. And believe it or not, it was life changing, because I finally got out of that where I'm stuck feeling. Now I feel energized, and I'm working towards, I know, the path that's going to lead me to that success, because everyone that I've spoken to that was in my position that's now where I want to be had that same challenge and took those same steps to get to that next level. So I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, self-improvement and taking time to like self-realize has dramatic impacts on your professional life and where your business can go. And I think it's great that you took the time to really take a deeper dive into you personally, to help you get to that next level professionally as well. Because that has been a big barrier. That is a challenge that people come up and they just don't want to put in that time, and they don't want to get that. I mean, people think it's like touchy-feely, right? But if you know your personality style and you know what you can do really well, there's no way that you can be 100% at everything, right? That's why these exist.
Yeah, and I'll go even deeper. I'll share on a personal level what happened last year. I had a major surgery, so I had that challenge, and then due to stress, I ended up getting very sick. And about August, I ended up it wasn't full-blown ulcers, but I had 3 beginning ulcers in my stomach that knocked me down, like 100%, knocked me down for a good 2-3 months. And I still had to work because I didn't have anybody that did what I did. There was no one to sit there and replace Gianni. And it was all stress. And it was because, I just wasn't taking enough personal time. I wasn't unplugging enough. And if I can share that with anybody that's, new to the business or, embedded into the business, you got to take time for you. And that was one of the things that I said I would do this year, is that I'm going to make time for me and make time for my family, because, all the money in the world, all the business in the world is great. But if you're dead, it's no good, right? It's no good if you can't enjoy it. And having 18 years under my belt, I can attest to saying that you've got to make time for you. And it's hard because, we're on call. That's our job. We're there when everybody's not at work. So yeah, you work during the week, then you work on the weekends, you work at nights, but you got to be able to say no. And that's one of the things I have a hard time doing. I'm not going to lie, but I have created some boundaries and I've created some timelines that when it's time to shut it off, it's time to shut it off. And believe it or not, I always thought like the worst thing would happen. Oh, my business will go blow up and no one will want to work with me anymore. It's just the opposite. People will start respecting you more. They'll start, most people respecting your timeline, and you actually become more valuable. I've learned this year that you become more valuable because you're setting the time. You're not letting them dictate your schedule. You're setting it. There's those certain instances where, you're going to have to take a call at 9:30 at night. You're going to have to take a call on a Sunday. But ultimately, if you can control that a lot better, you'll live longer, you'll be happier, and you'll be in this business a lot longer. And that was an eye opener this year. I didn't want to do that anymore. When I realized that I was killing myself over stress, I just said, no more. I got to make a change. I got to make a change for me and my health and my family and everything in between. But at the same respect, I still want to kill these numbers. So how do I do that? And that's why, again, I come back to reevaluating everything, placing systems, building the team out, putting people in place where I can free myself from the prison of, 7 days a week work days and 12, 14-hour days.
Yeah, no, you had so many knowledge bombs right in there. I can't even go back to all of them, but it's so incredibly important for people to take care of themselves. And yes, you do have to put in your time and put in the hard work and hours, but at the end of the day, like you said, it's business. You don't live to work. We all work to live, and you've got to have your priorities straight. Yourself should be included for sure. and your priorities. So I think that's so valuable. And good luck finding a coach. If I can give you any advice, just find one that meshes and melds well with you, which you're interviewing them. So it sounds like you're already taking that. But they're not only great from an accountability perspective, they're great from a perspective and a focus shift as well when you need it.
And it's interesting. I really didn't have much guidance on who to use because, and I reached out to some people, but everyone's got a different perspective. And what I've learned is there are different coaches for different needs. And my need is very specific. So, and again, there's personalities, right? If you're not meshing with someone's personality, you're not going to listen to them. You're not going to take their advice. So yeah, it's important. And it's been interesting interviewing people for sure. It's been quite a ride.
Oh, well, I hope you find just the perfect fit because I know it will definitely help you get to that next level that you're looking to go. What do you think? Should we hop into Homes for Heroes related topics?
Hey, I'm just going what you want. You tell me what you want.
I know we've got a ton of Homes for Heroes affiliates watching out there right now that are probably asking you how you built your Homes for Heroes business. Now, like you, I joined the program 11 years ago, but I know where we were 9 years ago, and it is certainly
night and day.
Yes,
night and day.
For sure. So I can personally understand the struggles that you're going through with tipping points and getting to that next level because I've experienced it here for sure. But how are you getting ingrained in this niche hero community that you are so successful at serving and helping right now?
Well, I'd love to talk to you about the changing point, because when I first got into Homes for Heroes, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm going to be honest with you. I had no idea. I had no clue. I know Homes for Heroes was very grassroots, and it was just one of those things where you were kind of left to figure it out, and which is great. That's how, as you know, that's how I got into this business, and that's how I've been successful, figuring it out. But there's a story that really changed how I approached Homes for Heroes, and what really changed how I treated it. So I'd love to talk about that if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think I was like maybe a year into the program, wasn't getting a lot of results, wasn't getting a lot of success. And I, at this point, was out there. Actually, this was the time of year where I transitioned in my career from being a refi loan officer to a fully referral-based business model. So, I was struggling. I was trying to find referral sources, and it was in the middle of a refinance boom. So, there was a lot of pressure on me while my friends are making bukus of money, and I'm sitting over here trying to create a referral partnership business, which was painful. So I joined the local chamber of commerce, and I was deep involved with that. That was helping me get my name out there and whatnot. And something tragic happened in my community. A local state police officer was shot in the line of duty. And it resonated with me. And then what really struck me is it happened in my town, right? Or the gentleman was, the fallen officer was from my town. And I was on my way to work and coming out of my neighborhood, and I get caught in the funeral procession. And so I had to pull over, and all of a sudden, there's this line of police officers coming from all over the country. And I'm talking, it was a straight hour of police just blanketing the street, because he was shot by, the backstory there, he pulled up on an assailant. It was a routine traffic stop, and this perpetrator was on parole violation, I think it was. So he was going back to jail, and he ended up shooting him in the face. Cold blood, killed him instantly. So cops were pissed, and they had every right to be. And they made their points. They shut down the city, literally shut down the city. And I was taken back by the camaraderie, the support. I'd never seen anything like that before. It touched me. It really did, to the point where I was like, I need to help this family. I need to find out more about this story. And I'm like, I got this Homes for Heroes program. They're always talking about how they're helping, the local community heroes and whatnot. So first thing I did was I found out through the Chamber of Commerce, because they had connections with the police department, about what had actually happened. I'm like, what's the family doing? I found out some horrible news. He left behind a wife and 2 boys. And the real crappy part was he was part of Georgia State Police. And he was only on the force for less than 2 years. And at that time, I don't know how it is now, but you don't get your pension until you serve 2 years. Now, this gentleman was also a retired military, so he was a double hero. I couldn't let that happen. He left behind 2 young boys and a wife and no insurance and no pension. I just said that's not right. So I made it a point to find out who his partner was. I reached out to his partner and I told him, I said, I want to help. What can I do to help? How can I help you guys raise money? So we started collaborating, and I started getting all the local businesses in the Chamber of Commerce involved. And we created this. I had a sign guy make these little stickers. I still have it on my bumper to this day. I still support him. We made stickers with his badge number, and we started selling those to all the local communities and businesses and so on and so forth. That was one way. Then they did a charity auction at a local cop bar downtown, and at the time, my brother-in-law was working for Channel 2, and he actually ended up helping me get a news reporter down there, and I ended up getting on television to kind of raise awareness. It was on national news. So it all kind of spiraled together. And then the best part, I called Helen Johnson, as you guys all know, personally, and she stroked a check. I think it was for like $5,000, something crazy. She just sent it out in the mail next day. No questions asked, nothing. Here you go, Gianni. Here you go. I was taken back by that. I was like, goodness gracious. So at the end of the day, within, I think, about a 2 or 3 week span, we raised almost $30,000 for the family.
Wow.
And that changed my trajectory of how I handled Homes for Heroes. That really, it was infectious. I'm like, I got to help more people. I love this. This was great. I was able to hand a check I ended up meeting his wife, the fallen hero, for breakfast, and handed her a check, and she just started crying and hugged me. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I said, this was just, small little effort. But the appreciation and his partner, I still talk to him to this day. It was just overwhelming, the support and how it pulled the community together with such a terrible event, and just a little bit of action from me. And I didn't make any money off that. I didn't gain anything out of that financially. That was all pure help. And that's when it hit me. That's what Homes for Heroes is about. It's not about making money. It's about helping heroes. And with that, the karma that comes with that changes the dynamic of your business. And, a lot of my fellow loan officers, when I was telling them about the program, they're like, you're going to give away your commission? What are you, crazy? And I said, yeah, I am. I said, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm a firm believer in what you give, you get. I've always been that way. And Homes for Heroes is, without a doubt, that exact same model. And every year after that, my Homes for Heroes business increased. My overall business increased. My referral business increased every single year from that moment on. I've never gone backwards.
Wow. That is, first of all, an incredible story. And I think we all have those moments in our lives when we get just knocked into the path that we're supposed to be on, through a major event that just is life-changing for sure. Clearly 9/11 was that event for our founders. It's that event for a lot of people. But this story for that police officer I'm so happy you got to experience that. And that you actually used it and took action upon it, because that is the perspective shift with us specifically, but also in business in general, when you can really focus on giving value to others and serving and helping others in the way that you uniquely can, that's what sets your path and makes success limitless, for sure. And in turn helps you lead a fulfilled and purpose-driven life too, which is a huge mental shift. Will help your health and well-being as well.
Absolutely.
So big things. Let's touch on just real quick what clearly 2020 was a totally different year, but what are you looking forward to doing this year once restrictions are lightened and we get back to getting face-to-face a little bit more? What are you looking to do for your local heroes to help you get even more ingrained in that community this coming year?
I'll tell you some of the things that we were doing that were successful, and unfortunately the pandemic did definitely put a strain on that. But I approach each hero category differently. I have had the luxury of doing everything wrong and also learning how to do everything right. So I go with what's right. You know, I don't try to reinvent the wheel. If it works, I just continue moving in that direction with each hero category. So if it's okay with you, I can touch on how, you know, each hero, how we approach each hero and what's been successful for us. And, you know, essentially that's our implementation of growing that model throughout, you know, the different areas that we're affiliated with.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. Each hero group is so unique in and of themselves, and not just how they operate, but in who it attracts into that career path. So I think that's smart that you take it and approach it with each hero group. So yeah, please feel free to go down that path.
Well, like I said, I did it all wrong to begin with. I approached everybody the same way, and that didn't work.
Try, fail, adjust, Gianni. Try, fail, adjust. This is the adaptability coming.
Exactly. So, believe it or not, I've had the most success with veterans for whatever reason. And you're going to laugh. It has nothing to do with actually getting into veteran communities. I'll tell you a funny story. I actually, through that same Chamber of Commerce I was telling you about, they had this really cool program called Honorary Commanders, where they select high-level business people in the community to pair up with a high-level military affiliate. And throughout an entire calendar year, each month we went to a military installation with your, I'll call them a hero component. So I had Dobbins Air Force Base as a military installation down here in Georgia, a very big one for the Air Force and some other designations as well. I had the second in command at Dobbins as my affiliate, and I could not get into their marketing department because of the JAG. I'm not even kidding you. That I literally was on the bus with him and the guy that ran Dobbins, and both of them tried to get me in there, and it was unsuccessful. So I'm like, I got to find a different way to go about this. So the way that I've marketed to veterans is kind of unique, and it's honestly through my builder partners. I created basically the mantra of being a VA mortgage specialist. Now, I will tell you that I actually did take a course to be a VA mortgage specialist, and so that designation is accurate. But through that, I've gained such a strong following that I'm the VA guy. All my realtors and my builders, when it's VA, they think of Gianni. So I just created that mantra that I do VA loans, and that's my specialty. And Homes for Heroes is a big part of that. But that was all branding. So I can honestly tell you, you can try the VFWs, you can try different veteran groups, but they're hard nuts to crack. I'm not going to lie to you. Unless you are a veteran, which I am not. My dad was, but I am not. It's really hard to crack that nut. So that's been my experience. And believe it or not, that makes up the biggest percentage of my hero closings. I know, it's wacky. The next is teachers. So obviously getting into schools is a lot harder these days than it ever has been before with all the unfortunate events that have happened at schools. So you really have to make friends with, generally it's either the principal of the school, or if you can get to a superintendent, that's even better. That's the starting position. Then what you offer them, not just can I come in and talk, what we created, which has been hugely successful, is a Hero Teacher of the Month award. Essentially, what we did was we created this really cool trophy. It's a glass apple stand. It's got their name on it. And we created this sort of an event for them where they get the faculty gets to choose who has gone above and beyond that month that would be considered a Hero Teacher of the Month. And that allowed us to get into their faculty meetings. So then we go ahead and we bring food in for all the teachers. That way we're not leaving anybody out. And I've gotten restaurants, different food vendors, caterers to sponsor those events so they get exposure. I'll get an insurance company to give a gift card. So that way we're giving a trophy and a gift card to the teacher. They give us the opportunity to speak after that. It's been amazing. So that little thing right there, very small investment, been awesome. It's been great.
Love it.
So that's been a great success for teachers. Law enforcement is interesting. I've had some different things with law enforcement. I'll tell you the one that's been the most successful. And this definitely takes knowing the right people. But I've actually got into the roll calls before the police officers actually get let out to do their jobs. Because if you know police officers, they have crazy shifts and crazy hours. And not most of the times they don't want to sit there either before or after their shift and listen to you talk about your mortgage awesome programs and your awesome real estate skills. That's the last thing we want to do after dealing with a bunch of criminals all day, right? So we actually, in one department, we did it two ways. We actually got into roll calls. So before they were getting out into their day and they were fresh, we bring them breakfast or lunch, whatever time of day it was, and then we were able to speak. And we got a lot of positive feedback on that. The other thing that we did was we got into the corporate headquarters, and they allowed us to sit in the corporate headquarters. That way we were able to hit all the people that are inside, not just the law enforcement officers, but all the people that make up the police department. There's a lot of people in that police department that would need our services. And then one of the things that's been the most successful, and this kind of hits on both law enforcement and firefighters, I was part of a business association for the city that I started out in, which was Marietta. And I joined that business association because they have affiliation with the schools and the police and fire. So we created this police and fire appreciation event. So once a year, we do a barbecue for 200 to 300 heroes. We've been doing it other than last year, we've been doing it for the last 5 years. And I literally got a chance to shake hands with every single hero that came through that. And again, we did it at the headquarters. So everybody in the headquarters came out and ate. All the police officers came, the firefighters came. There was actually a 911 call center right down the road. They came. And not only were we feeding them, but I was actually started giving away raffle items. I had Glock sponsor 2 guns that I got for almost nothing, and we gave those away as raffle items. That was the way that we got them attracted, not only to eat, but we gave them some cool things, some cool giveaways too. And that's how I was able to capture all their information, because in order for them to be a part of the raffle, they had to fill out the card. And who's going to say no to a free gun, right? I mean, we're in Georgia, man. That's like candy. So it was fantastic. And so that's been hugely successful. And then let's see, medical is unique, but I've found with getting into the large institutions like hospitals and other big medical providers, you want to find a connection with their human resources department. Yeah. Most of these big chains or something, they generally have a partnership program. And if you can pitch them right and tell them what you're bringing to the table, they're going to put you on there. And because, again, they're hard to get in front of because of the way that their shifts operate and whatnot. So you really have to get to the people that they're going to listen to, which you're going to listen to an email from human resources, right? You would think. So we get in there as a partnership, and a lot of the organizations pre-COVID would do they would do a sponsorship event where they display and showcase all their partners. So they'd have like a little trade show. We'd go set up a little booth. That way everybody could come around and they could talk to us and all that good stuff. So we got a lot of good feedback from that. But those are all things that are been hugely successful for us. I have gotten into sponsoring events for different organizations, charity organizations that are veteran related. That's been helpful. So anything that you can do where you're providing help to the community is a win, because this is not your typical marketing strategy, guys. This is, you are providing help and you're providing them with something of benefit, showing them that you love them, that you care for them, that you support them. That's how you win them over. That's how you gain the respect of each hero community, by showing them that you support them. And guys, we have an opportunity now more than ever, especially in the law enforcement and the medical community, even the veteran community. They're not getting a lot of love out there, and they're getting beat up pretty hardcore. So it's a perfect opportunity, and that's why I'll segue into what's 2020. 2020 is all about really getting out there and driving this home even more. There are some challenges with getting face-to-face, and that's what we're really trying to overcome is the barriers that prevent us from being able to do these hands-on events. So I'm hoping that gets lifted, but I won't lie to you, I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't figured out how to still be able to do these types of things without being face-to-face, because that is one of the challenges we've had this year, is that takeaway. But like with the teacher awards, we're still doing them. There's Zoom meetings, so we're still giving away the awards. We're not face-to-face. It's not as impactful, but we're still doing our part. We're still doing our part, and that to me is important, because it resonates that no matter what, we're still there to support them. And I think if you can find a way to do that in this crazy time, then I think when this all calms down, you'll be invited into the open events and the face-to-faces.
Yeah, for sure. Consistency is so key and imperative, especially during times of turmoil and unrest and pandemics and change and all that kind of stuff, for sure. So I'm happy to hear you're still doing the teachers. And I know you, one of your biggest things that has made you successful, especially with Homes for Heroes, is that you're not just throwing money at it. You're not just, sending off a check to help, which is great. We need people to do that, to help out. But you are using that opportunity to personally deliver the funds, like you did so long ago to that law enforcement widow. And then even for like now as well.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I think you'll come back on video in just a second.
My phone's blowing up.
It's all your fans, Gianni. It's all your fans.
I know. Oh, Lord.
But you get out there and you're present, and you have that face-to-face interaction, and you are able to build rapport and relationships. And I think that's key. That's probably why you're personally struggling with figuring out ways to do that. But please ask your team members, because some of us who aren't as outgoing as you are may have some really cool ideas on how to do that and not be face-to-face, because that's not our forte. So for sure. I'm going to bring Gianni back on in just a second here. Hold tight, guys. Always some technical difficulties. He will be right back in a sec, and we will get to... I got you, bud.
Sorry about that.
Okay. I've just got a couple of extra things to chat with you about. But before I get into my quick rapid fire questions for you, did you have anything else that you really wanted to share today that I might have missed?
I think we hit everything.
Yeah, we hit everything and then some.
That's right.
Life lessons from Gianni Cerretani right here on Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. Okay, couple of quick questions for you before we get off. First things first, I've been on this huge route.
Blowing my phone up. I apologize. Go ahead.
That's okay. Do you want to set it on Do Not Disturb?
I did, but it's still coming in. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Do that. Not that tech savvy, sorry.
All good. It's all good. Only a couple more questions, and it'll only take a couple minutes for us, so we'll do rapid fire. I've been on a huge routine/ritual kick, figuring out what successful people do, what their morning routines look like, what their daily routines, something that they do every single day to keep, like whether it's how you end your work day, to transition into your personal life, whatever. Give me your routine, because I know you are routine oriented.
Oh my God, you got to be routine to stay in this business. So I'm sure you're going to be shocked, but it begins and ends with exercise.
No, really?
I know, blow your mind, right? So I'll tell you to a T. I get up at 6:30, 6 to 6:30 every morning. I get right up and I do emails. I check my emails because they're usually out of control most of the time. So I'll spend about an hour checking emails. I will get on my exercise bike and do my cardio no later than 8:15. Do 45 minutes of cardio. Get off the bike, go right down and eat breakfast. Jump in the shower, and then get right back to work. And I told you I set my time boundaries, so I'm done. I try to cut it off no later than 7:20, and then from there it's right to the gym with my my other coach, my bodybuilding coach, for training for a good 1.5 to 2 hours. I come home, spend what rest energy I have left with my wife and my dogs, and then I go to bed no later than 11:30. Go to bed and start it all over again.
Oh, love it. Routine is key, man. You got to have your thing that you do. And exercise is a fantastic one to work in there twice.
Oh, and I eat a few times throughout the day too.
Yeah. I would hope so.
You got to. It's funny. People laugh, but I actually have Outlook reminders to tell me when to eat, because you get busy and you forget, and it'll be like 3 o'clock and you'll be like, why am I angry? Oh, it's because I haven't eaten.
Yeah. Get in the zone, man. It's tough to break
Right.
that.
So Outlook is key. I plan my whole day. If it's not on Outlook, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, for sure. All right. I know you are a big learner and a knowledge person. So I don't know if it's book reading or whatever, but what's your favorite either book or maybe podcast or source of growth?
All right. So phenomenal book I read over vacation. It's a gentleman that actually is a pioneer in our business and a trendsetter, a forecaster. His name is Barry Habib. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's phenomenal. And he just published a book called Money in the Streets. And you don't have to be a mortgage professional to get anything out of this book. I think it's a great business book, and it really talks about the opportunity that's all around us that we forget about. And that really, reading that book on vacation is what it clicked for me, that I'm missing out on so many things that I'm not taking advantage of. So I highly recommend that book. I think it's a phenomenal book. He's fantastic, and he not only has been hugely successful in the mortgage business, but other industries as well. And it's a great story. He talks about his whole life, and from all the way from where he started selling stereos out of the back of his trunk to where he is now, multi-millionaire, maybe even billionaire, I don't know, and he's funny too. So it's hard for me to keep my attention with reading. If I know right off the bat whether I'm going to like the book or not, and I couldn't put it down. And I read the whole thing cover to cover on vacation. So it's an easy read. So I highly recommend that book.
Yeah. Give me the title and author again. It's
called Money in the Streets by Barry Habib.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Good recommendation. I love that. 2 more for you. If you could go back to Gianni circa 2003, when you first got into this business, what's one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Run. No, I'm just kidding. I think the best advice I could have given myself back then was to learn the business. I'm so sorry. I didn't really learn how to do mortgages until I transitioned out of that model into the broker world. So I learned how to do business differently. So if I could go back, I would have pulled myself out of the refinance business instead of being in that painful position for 6 years. And I would have started creating a referral-based business right away, because that honestly would have saved me a lot of pain throughout my life. Relying on other people to provide you business is like building a house on sand. Eventually it's going to collapse. So that's the one piece of advice I would have given myself, is to go out and create a referral-based business and an organic-based business right out the gate.
Oh, love it. Love it. So smart. The things we learn over the years and with experience, right? If only we knew.
If only we knew. If only I had a time machine and a DeLorean to go 88 back to
That's right.
3.
That's right. And last but not least, I mean, let's be honest, this is real talk. It's real estate agents and lenders. So I got to throw in a real estate question for you, which should be the easiest one of the day. We've gone through 2020 now. We've all been at home for so long. But what's the favorite room in your house for you?
The favorite room in my house?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, that's a tough one. Well, it's definitely not the one I'm in right now, because I spend way too much time in it. So that's for sure. Honestly, my favorite room in the house is probably, I would have to say the favorite room in the house is the one I don't spend enough time in, which is my den, because it's peaceful, it's quiet. There's not a lot of activity. Like when I need to chill and meditate, I go in there. I go there because no one goes in there, and I can basically, it's almost like cut off from the rest of the world. So that's the place I would like to go the most, that I don't go enough. Yeah,
no, I love it. We all need our happy spot for sure.
Yep.
For sure. Well, Gianni, you have been an amazing guest. So many, again, life lessons, professional lessons. I really appreciate your time today. I know you are very, very busy, and time is a tremendous asset. So I appreciate you sharing the last hour and 10 minutes with us for sure. Your willingness to share.
It's been an honor, Abby. It's good to travel back in time a little bit, and it makes you appreciate where you have come, because I think as professionals sometimes we forget to smell the roses and realize what we do accomplish. We're always looking for that next big thing, but it's good to sit back and be appreciative of what you've done and how far you've come. And it's not an easy business. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. And the reason why it's so hard, but the reason why the rewards are so beneficial, is because it's not easy to do.
Yeah, definitely. And you have come very, very far, my friend, for sure.
Thank you.
All right, bud. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Real Talk. We will be back at you next Wednesday, same place, same time. Talk to you guys later.